Hey, what's up guys? In this video, I'm going to be discussing 5 things that I love about Boston and 5 things that, well, I could really do without. Stay tuned.
Andrew. Peace.
Hey guys, my name's Andrew Junas. I'm a local realtor right here in the Boston metro area. And in this video, I'm going to be covering 5 things that I really like about Boston and 5 things that, well, I could really do without. All right, so the first thing that I really love about Boston are the endless activities, right? There's always something to do, someplace to go. Whether you're gonna take in a game at the Garden or at Fenway Park, go to a jazz club or a restaurant in the South End, stroll through the public gardens, or take a walk along the Charles River. There are great bars like Drink and the Back Bar and the Burr and the Model Cafe and Eastern Standard and JJ Foley's. And JJ Foley's is a place I used to go all the time with my buddies. We go close that place down. The bartenders there all had thick Irish brogues and perfect pour on a Guinness. And then there are bars like Asta and Uni and Oleana and Number 9 Park and Oh Yeah and Neptune and a whole bunch of others. Great restaurants throughout Boston. And you have great shopping on Newbury Street and Downtown Crossing, among other places. And when you want to escape the city, there are beautiful beaches up and down the coast, right? You go north of the city, you have places like Good Harbor and Cranes and Wingashiek. Go south of the city, and of course you get down into the Cape and the Islands, right? You got Cape Cod, Provincetown, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket. A little further south, you can get to Newport, Rhode Island. And Newport was a place where my sister used to rent a house every summer with her friends. Maybe about 13 of them go in on it together. And then you'd have it on alternating weekends. And it was just a really fun time down there. And New York is only a 3.5-hour car ride away. Or you can take the train, or we have buses that run all the time for like $20 to get to New York. To the north, you have Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire. All offer great options for like hiking, camping, and certainly some of the best skiing in the Northeast. And Boston has a thriving arts scene. Their per capita spending is only second to New York. And with things like Shakespeare in the Park in the summertime, something that my wife and I would always take in, was free and open to everybody. And it was, great actors, great production. We'd bring a picnic basket with some food and some wine, and it would make for a really enjoyable evening. All right, so the first thing I could really do without is the traffic. It just blows. There's no getting around it, right? Bostonians don't have any secret ways that they can circumvent the traffic. It's just everywhere, and you'll be sitting in it at some point. And even after the Big Dig project was completed, a project that went way over budget and took way longer than it was supposed to, and was supposed to be this incredible thing to clear up all this traffic, we really didn't see any relief from it. And the commuter lanes that we have here are a joke, right? Don't even get me started. Those things, I feel like all they do is squeeze down the traffic into one less lane during rush hour so that the traffic becomes even worse because nobody uses the commuter lanes. All right, so the second thing I like about Boston is the Commuter Rail. I think the cars are clean, they're quiet, and they offer a really smooth ride. On top of that, they have the quiet cars so that you don't get stuck next to that guy that's on their phone that everyone in the car can hear. So it makes it for a nice, pleasant ride. On top of that, it's fast into Boston, right? I live about 20 minutes outside of Boston. If I was to jump in a car during rush hour, it would take me about an hour to get there. The Commuter Rail, it's 20 minutes. I'm right into downtown Boston. And the great thing about it is that it puts you right in the heart of the city. So from there, you can connect to any other part of the city through some form of transportation, whether it's subway, bus, Uber, you name it. These days I rely on my car pretty heavily, but I used to take the Commuter Rail into Boston at least several times a week, and I found it to be overall a really enjoyable experience. And so what I could do without is the scheduling and, to a lesser extent, the reliability. The train schedule is not conducive to someone who works late or works off hours. You get to like around 7:30, and you go from having trains running every 20 minutes or so to trains running every 2 hours. And 7 o'clock isn't that late for a lot of people. And so reliability can be an issue too. It's not as bad as the scheduling, in my opinion, but if a train does break down, well, you have no good alternatives. It's not like another train is going to come by. It's not like you have a bus. It's not like you can hop into an Uber. You still got all that traffic that you were trying to avoid by being on the train in the first place. So more than likely you're going to be late, or you're going to miss your destination completely. All right, so the third thing I really love about Boston is its history, right? Boston is steeped in history, right? You can start with the Freedom Trail, which is about a 2.5-mile path that covers 16 of Boston's best known historic landmarks, things like the Old North Church and the Paul Revere House, Bunker Hill Monument, Paul Revere's house, the Boston Tea Party, USS Constitution, the Granary Burial Grounds. I mean, you can take a walk through the public gardens. That's the oldest garden in the United States, dating back to 1837. And it's not just the history, but it's also the architecture, right? The cobblestone streets. I mean, you can go into the North End, right? And you feel like you're stepping back in time with some of the streets that you're on. The other side of that is Boston's fraught history as a racist city, right? There's no getting around it. In fact, one of the most contentious periods was in the 70s when black children were being bused into white neighborhoods. I mean, it got ugly, really ugly. And one of the most iconic images that was captured on film was a white guy trying to spear a black man with an American flag. Just an ugly low point in Boston's history. And there are unfortunate incidents of sports stars coming to town and being called the N-word at games or when they're out on the town. My own wife, who's black, has had to deal with racism. As a high school student, she went to South Boston to a private school there, and it was mostly white kids that were going to school with her, and she had a bunch of friends who would openly use the N-word around her, and when she would question it, they would say, oh, but we're not talking about you. We don't think of you that way. You're different. Huh? Now, I think most people will agree that Boston is way better than it was in the 70s, but it's still got a ways to go to clean up its image. All right, the number 4 thing I love about Boston is that it is a walkable city, right? Geographically, it's pretty small. It ranked 98 out of 100, or a walker's paradise by walkscore.com. Neighborhoods like the North End, Back Bay, Beacon Hill, Fenway all offer easy access to day-to-day things, including public transportation to other parts of the city. And in fact, Boston has a goal that by 2030, every home in the city will be within 10 minutes of some form of public transportation or ride sharing. All right, so while the city might be great to walk in, it's not so great for driving or owning a car. The streets here can be narrow and winding and congested. They can have cars double or triple parked at times, and it can be a real nightmare trying to get through. And if you're trying to find a parking spot, well, you could be circling a neighborhood for quite a while before one opens up. And if you are parked on the street in the wintertime during a big snowstorm, you could get plowed in and not be able to move until springtime. And if it is wintertime and you find a freshly plowed out space, you better not park there because someone is going to key your car or slash your tires, and the city's kind of okay with that. The meter maids here are some of the most aggressive in the city and known for collecting more money than any other city in the country. And watch out for the street sweeping, right? The city will tow your car without leaving a trace of where they've taken it. I've been in that unfortunate position where I've walked back to where my car is supposed to be and there's nothing there. And it's that sinking feeling of, did my car get stolen? And then you look up at the sign and say, oh, I see, it's the second Tuesday of the month and you're doing street sweeping and now my car is towed and I'm out probably like $150. All right, the number 5 reason why I love Boston is the education. We have some of the best colleges and universities in the world with places like Harvard and MIT, BC, BU, Brandeis, Babson, the list goes on and on and on. And of course, Boston sees about 150,000 college students invade its streets every September. The Massachusetts public school system are widely seen as the best in the country. I think we have about a 2% dropout rate, and we're ranked number 1 nationally in reading and math. And we have towns like Wellesley and Lexington that are ranked among the best school systems in all the country as well. All right, so the last thing that I could do without regarding the Massachusetts public education system is that it's just really divided and expensive, right? The top performing school systems are way too expensive for most people to live in. And there are achievement gaps with those income disparities, right? In Boston, 30% of kids under the age of 4 live in poverty. 50% live in a household where English isn't your first language. And 3/4 of kids going to Boston public school today are low income. And so the system is just not set up to help these kids succeed, right? The good news is there are a lot of people working to make things better. It's just government and, stuff takes a while. All right, guys, so like I said, I am a local realtor right here in the Boston metro area, and I love to help people find their ideal place to live. So if you are thinking about moving to Boston, please drop me a line, call, text, email, shout it from the rooftops. I am here and I'm ready to help whenever you are. All right, guys, I hope this was helpful. Please comment down below. And if you would, please remember to hit the subscribe button and click that little bell so you get notified anytime I do new videos. And like I said, I will be doing at least 1 new video a week on Boston, the surrounding areas, the good, the bad, the ugly, So please stay tuned for that. Until the next time, take care.